Hello everyone. Welcome to this awesome channel called Let's Crack NEET UG in English. I am Aditi Gupta, your biology mentor. And in today's class, we're about to discuss about the process of megasporogenesis and megagametogenesis. As we have already seen, the complete structure and process of male reproductive organ in life cycle of angiosperm. Okay, and I have also introduced the structure of ovule. Okay, in my previous class. So today we are going to start with different types of ovule observed in case of angiosperm, followed with megasporogenesis and megagametogenesis. Well, before we begin, let me introduce myself. My name is Aditi Gupta and I have been mentoring students for the past 6 years for their NEET UG preparation. And many students of mine are in their dream medical colleges. And now, students, it's your turn. I myself have secured an All India rank of 61 in prestigious GATE examination and have pursued my MTech from IIT Kanpur in Biological Sciences and Bioengineering. Student, I am a research scientist by profession, but I left my lucrative R&D job to follow my passion for teaching. So here I am to guide you, to be your mentor. Okay, so students, in order to be guided by India's topmost team of mentors on this amazing platform, you need to go for an Academy subscription. Download this app known as Unacademy Learning app from Play Store. See, this app contains some really awesome features which are absolutely free of cost. For example, there are certain special classes, there are certain quiz sessions which are absolutely free of cost. So download this app and go explore all those features because they're definitely gonna help you, they're definitely gonna benefit you. Okay. And after installing, click on NEET UG option because as you know, you are NEET UG aspirants. Okay. Then click on get subscription. Okay. Now what happens? First of all, let us see what is this subscription or paid platform and how the interface look like. For example, see, these are the screenshots of my special classes on this particular Unacademy learning app. Okay, so you can see I have taken various special classes on various concepts. So see, the educator is visible to you and you can continuously interact with the educator, your doubts during the session. Okay, you can clear those doubts, and also students, you can clear those doubts in specified doubt clearing sessions also. See, what are the benefits of plus subscription? You will be getting daily live classes from India's topmost team of educators in all the three subjects like physics, chemistry and biology. All three subjects will be taught to you by topmost team of educator. Okay, also apart from live classes, you will be getting doubt clearing sessions. You will be getting doubt clearing sessions. Okay, because these sessions are really important. Now, the complete NEET UG syllabus will be covered in a detailed manner. Okay, as the syllabus is there for NEET UG examination, and you will be provided the PDF notes. The PDF notes or the study material are the well researched study material, and it will be provided to you by the educator. Okay, then you will be given live tests and quizzes as students. Okay, there are thousands and thousands of students who are preparing on this platform called as Unacademy for their competitive examination. Okay, so you will be able to evaluate yourself by participating in this live tests and quizzes because you will be given your daily ranking from day 1 to the last day till your NEET UG examination. Okay, so you can evaluate, you can see your performance, you can see yourself improving because there is always a scope of improvement. This test or quiz, these are for evaluation purpose. Okay, students, then last but not the least, you will be provided unlimited access to all the NEET UG content. Now what is the meaning of this unlimited access? See, for example, there are 40 plus educators available on this platform. Okay, so you will be getting access to all the video lectures, all the PDF notes, and personalized test papers from all the educators on this platform. You won't have to subscribe each one of them individually. Okay, with this one subscription you will be getting unlimited access to all the content available for all the three subjects from all the educators available on plus platform. Okay, students, now Unacademy has introduced a brand new feature which is the iconic subscription. Now, see, in order to fill the gap between the student and the educator, okay, this iconic platform has been introduced from the Unacademy platform. Okay, see what happens in iconic, you will be getting all the benefits of plus platform. So daily live classes from topmost team of educators, then doubt clearing sessions, detailed coverage of the syllabus, then live tests and quizzes. These all benefits are included in iconic platform. But what else, what is new in this particular platform? See, you will be getting your personal coach. You will be getting your personal coach who will be there to guide you in each and every step of your NEET UG preparation. Okay, you will be getting your study planner. Okay, you will be told how to study. Okay, what to do and what not to do in order to secure really a good rank in your NEET UG examination. Okay, and also this study planner will be reviewed between you and your coach by bi-weekly meetings. Okay, then see, not only you will be asked for, you will be given various test options. Your test analysis will be provided to you, in-depth test analysis will be provided to you. And what happens with this in-depth test analysis, students, you'll be able to improve, because now you know what mistakes you have done in your particular topic or your particular chapter. Okay, now you can always go back and improve and relearn the concept so that you don't repeat that mistake again. And also I have, as I've already told you, all the benefits from the plus platform. Okay, so what you need to do as a student, this is a simple comparison slide where you see that all these basic features are similar in both the platform, but these features are exclusively found only in Iconic platform. So you can choose any one of the platform according to your need and your choice. Okay, so what you need to do is, Iconic comes with 2 subscription plans. I would suggest, if you are a 10 pass out student, then go for 2 year of subscription plan. And if you are a 12th studying or 12th pass out student, then go for 1 year of subscription plan. And students, although the prices for these subscriptions are 45,000 and 61,000 respectively, but if you use my referral code AG001, you will be getting an instant 10% discount on your course fee. Okay, you will be getting an instant 10% discount on your course fee. That means now you have to pay only rupees 40,500 for 12 months, that is 1 year, and only rupees 54,900 for 2 year. And if you calculate these fee on monthly basis, you will see you have to pay only rupees 3,375 for 1 year, and only rupees 2,288 rupees for 2 year. Okay, so this is the monthly price which you are paying for all the 3 subjects, including the live classes, the doubt clearing sessions, the study material, and the test series program. Okay, so isn't that cheap? Along with the personal coach benefit, along with the study planner, along with the in-depth test analysis feature, and along with the periodically guidance from the experts in this field. Okay, now similarly for plus platform also, students, you need to go for either 1 year or 2 year of subscription plan, because this 1 year or 2 year of time is quite decent amount of time to prepare for NEET UG examination. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to pay only rupees 27,000 for 1 year and only rupees 32,400 for 2 year, but in case only if you apply my referral code AG001. Do not forget to apply my referral code AG001 to get an instant 10% of discount. Okay, now also if you calculate it back on monthly basis, you will see that you have to pay only rupees 2,250 for 1 year. Okay, and only rupees 1,350 for 2 year. Monthly price, check the monthly price. Okay, so you have to pay, you are getting all the benefits, you are getting the topmost guidance, the guidance of the team of top educators from all across the country at such a cheapest price. Okay, so do not wait to miss the chance. Also, Unacademy subscription prices are going to increase very soon. Very soon. We are continuously repeating this. It is going to increase very soon. So do not, wait to lose this opportunity. Grab this golden opportunity and do not forget to apply my referral code AG001. Okay, students. Now, coming towards our today's class. As I've already told you that we have discussed the structure of female reproductive organ, that is the carpel or pistil. Okay, I've already discussed about the structure of pistil in my last class, but to brief, I'll say that pistil consists of 3 regions: the stigma, style, and ovary. Ovary is the swollen basal part of the pistil. Stigma is the topmost landing platform because it provides the area for the pollen grain to land. Okay, now style is the stalk-like structure which connects the stigma to the ovary. The most important part of the ovary is ovule. Okay, the most important part of the ovary is ovule, because it will be containing the female gametophyte and then ultimately the female gamete. Okay, students, now let us see the different types of ovule found in case of angiosperms. Okay, I have already discussed the structure of ovule. I'll revise it. See, for example, the structure of ovule, it contains the centromost structure is the embryo sac. It contains the egg apparatus, the egg. Okay, and these 2 cells are the synergids. Combinedly, these 3 cells together are known as the egg apparatus. Okay, then it is surrounded by a nutritive layer of cell which is nucellus. Then it is surrounded by protective tissue which is the integument. There are 2 integuments present, the outer integument and the inner integument. Okay, there is a region in the ovule where these integuments are absent. and that particular region is the micropyle. Okay, so this micropyle, here the integument is absent. Just opposite to the micropyle is the chalazal end. Chalazal end is the base of the ovule, whereas micropyle is the tip of the ovule. Okay, students. Now, on the basis of, there are certain criteria for different for classification of ovule. So we will be seeing, different types of ovule based on various criteria. For example, on the basis of integuments. Okay, on the basis of this protective covering, ovules are classified into three different categories. First one is the bitegmic. Bi means two. That means those ovules are surrounded by two integuments. Okay, outer integument and the inner integument. Outer integument and the inner integument. Okay, and this bitegmic ovule is the most common type of ovule in case of angiosperms. Okay, mainly, especially all the polypetalous angiosperm have bitegmic ovule. Okay, polypetalous means these have free petals. Polypetalous means free petals. Okay, for example, if this is the structure of the petal, so they are freely present. This is the polypetalous condition. Okay, now talking about the unitegmic ovule, it means they contain only single integument as shown over here. Only one integument. Okay, so it is mainly found in case of gamopetalous flowers. Gamopetalous, that means fused petal. Fused petal. Okay, students. Now, talking about the third category on the basis of type of integument is the ategmic ovule. That means the integuments are absent. Integuments are absent, and it is found in certain cases, for example, in Loranthus, Santalum, and Oryx. Okay, so there are very few examples of ategmic ovule, and the most common type of ovule found in angiosperm is the bitegmic ovule. Okay, students. Now, type of ovule on the basis of nucellus. So there are two types of ovule on the basis of nucellus. First one is the tenuinucellate and second one is the crassinucellate. I have used the picture over here to explain you in a better way. See, for example, in case of tenuinucellate, the nucellus is ill developed. Nucellus is ill developed. Nucellus is ill developed in nature. Okay. Now see what happens. See, for example, ill developed, or I can say made composed of single layer of cell. Composed of single layer of cell. First of all, what is nucellus? See, nucellus is nucellus is a nutritive layer, and it is generally made up of nucellus is a nutritive layer. Okay, this is a nutritive layer, and it is generally made up of parenchyma. Okay, it is made up of parenchyma. That means it is parenchymatous in nature, and its function is to store food and helps in the development of embryo sac by supplying food to it. Okay, so now tenuinucellate means single layer of cell is present. See, for example, here this is the megasporocyte. Okay, now this is the nucellus cell, and it contains a single layer of cell. This is the tenuinucellate condition, and it is normally found in case of gamopetalous flower. Gamopetalous plants. Okay, so it is found tenuinucellate ovule. Whereas in case of crassinucellate, what happens? The nucellus is well developed. Nucellus is well developed, or we can say that multiple layer of cells are found. Multiple layer of cells. Okay. Now, multiple layer of cells, which means, as you can see over here, there are multiple layer of cells found in this nucellus. So, well-developed nucellus is the crassinucellate nucellus. It is found in most of the angiosperm, mainly in polypetalous condition. Okay, that means in gamopetalous condition, the type of ovule is unitegmic and tenuinucellate, whereas in polypetalous condition, the type of ovule is bitegmic and crassinucellate. Okay, students. Now, moving ahead, there are also certain types of ovule on the basis of position of funiculus, micropyle, chalaza, and hilum. Okay, so on the basis of position of funiculus, micropyle, chalaza, and hilum, there are 6 types of ovule which we are going to study. For example, see, first one is the orthotropous ovule. Okay, orthotropous ovule is the most primitive and the most simplest type of ovule. Now, what happens in this orthotropous ovule? See, for example, if this is the funiculus, we know that the ovule gets attached to the wall of the ovary with the help of a stalk-like structure, which is known as funiculus. Okay, Now, this is the hilum. Hilum is the point where the funiculus is attached to the body of the ovule. So, this is the hilum. Okay. Now, see, this is the micropyle. This is the micropyle region. Okay. See, this is the micropyle region where the integument is absent. Micropyle is the tip of the ovule, and this is the chilazal region just opposite to the micropylar region, base of the ovule. Chilaza is the base of the ovule. Base of the ovule. Okay, students. Now, what happens? See, in orthotropous ovule, all the four structures, the micropyle, the chilaza, hilum, and funiculus, they lie in a straight line. They lie in a straight line. Okay, and this is the most simplest type of ovule. So, it is also known as a straight or upright ovule, also known as a straight or upright ovule. Okay, it is found in case of, this is the primitive type of ovule. Let me write it over here. This is the primitive type of ovule. Okay, and it is found in case of gymnosperms. So it is found in case of gymnosperms. Okay, students. Now, moving ahead, the next category of ovule is, let me change the color of the ink to avoid confusion, students. 1 second. Okay, I hope you're getting my point. These are some basic types of ovule, but questions are continuously being asked from this particular topic. Okay, so talking about anatropous ovule. Now, what happens if there is a growth in the funiculus such that the funiculus surrounds the body of the ovule in a lateral manner, and the body of the ovule rotates due to this growth by an angle of 180 degree. See, for example, this is the autotropous ovule, also known as atropous ovule. Okay. Now, what happens if if the funiculus continues to grow? Now, the funiculus continues to grow. So, what happens? The funiculus is surrounding the body of the ovule laterally, first of all, and second, due to this growth, the body of the ovule is rotated by an angle of 180 degree. Okay, now what happens? See the micropyle here. This is the micropyle. Now it comes close to the hilum region. This is the hilum region where the funiculus is attached. This is the funiculus. Okay, now what happens? This micropyle come close to the hilum, whereas see in case of Atropus, the micropyle was distant from the hilum. Again, the chilaza and is just opposite to the micropyle. So this type of ovule is known as resupinate ovule. This type of ovule is known as resupinate ovule or inverted ovule Okay, so anatropous ovule or resupinate ovule or inverted ovule. Okay, and this type of ovule is the most common type of ovule. It is the most common type of ovule in angiosperm. Most common type in angiosperm. Okay, this anatropous ovule is the most common type of ovule in angiosperm, but again, it is not found in case of capsula. Let me write it with another color pen. So it is not found in capsula. Why are we giving this a special weightage to capsula? Because we know capsula is a important example of angiosperm, and questions have been continuously asked from this particular example. Okay, so anatropous ovule, also known as the resupinate ovule or the inverted ovule, is the most common type of ovule. The body of ovule is rotated around the funiculus by an angle of 180 degree. Micropyle and chilaza are in a straight line, just opposite to each other. But this is, despite being most common, it is not found in capsula. Okay, I hope my point is clear. Moving ahead. Third category of the ovule is the hemitropous ovule. Hemi is half. Okay, so what happens? This is the funiculus. When the body of ovule is arranged at the angle of 90 degree to the funiculus, then it is known as hemitropous or hemianatropous. Okay, again the micropyle and the chilaza are in the straight line, just opposite to each other. Okay, the angle between the funiculus and the micropyle is 90 degree, and example becomes ranunculus. Okay, students, very easy part. Coming towards the fourth category, which is the cercinotropous ovule. Cercinotropous ovule is exactly similar in structure to the most primitive type of ovule, which was the orthotropous ovule. But here is one basic and important difference. Now, what is that difference? Let me tell you. See what happens. How is the cercinotropous ovule is formed? See, the growth in the funiculus is such that, first of all, the body of the ovule, it rotates by an angle of 180 degree. Then again, due to the fast growth in the funiculus, the body is again rotated by 180 degree. That means a continuous rotation of 360 degree takes place. A continuous rotation of 360 degree takes place in case of Cercinotropus ovule. Okay, that means it is similar in a structure to Autotropus ovule, but there is one basic difference, and that basic difference is that the complete body of ovule, the complete body of ovule is surrounded by funiculus. The complete body of ovule is surrounded by funiculus. Okay. Okay. Now, again, this is the micropyle region. This is the chalazal region. The micropyle and the chalazal and lie in the straight line. They lie in the straight line. Okay. And this Cercinotropus ovule is found in the member of Cactaceae family. Example, Opuntia. Opuntia. Okay. So, Cactaceae family represents Cercinotropus ovule. Now moving ahead, there are two special types of ovule where we found a special curvature. For example, in case of this Amphitropus ovule, what happens in this Amphitropus ovule? See, due to the effective curvature of nucellus, the embryo sac, this structure, the embryo sac, it assumes a horseshoe shape structure. So what happens? The embryo sac, it assumes a horseshoe shaped structure. Okay, why? Because of the effective curvature in nucellus. Effective curvature in nucellus. Okay, what happens? This embryo sac becomes horseshoe shape. Okay, and this the example of the Amphitropus ovule, it is found in case of famous examples are Papaver, mirabilis. Okay, these are some famous examples. Okay. Now talking about the Campliotropus ovule, one more important thing, in case the micropyle and the chalaza, they are just opposite to each other here also in Amphitropus ovule. Now coming towards the Campliotropus ovule, here what happens, the body of ovule is curved in such a way that the micropyle and chalaza, they are not in the straight line. They are not in the straight line. They are not opposite to each other. The micropyle and chalaza, they are not found in a straight line, just opposite to each other. They are not found in a straight line. Okay, due to the curvature of the ovule. Okay, now what happened? The example of Campliotropus ovule is the Crucifery family. Example, the most important example comes here, the Capsula. Okay, members of Crucifery family. Once again, let me correct the spelling. The members of the Crucifery family. Okay, so this was all about the different types of ovule. We have seen the type of ovule on the basis of integument. Then we have seen the type of ovule on the basis of nucellus, and then the type of ovule on the basis of the position of micropyle, chalaza, funiculus and hilum. Okay, so these are some different types of ovule. We have seen some important examples. Now we are moving ahead. We are starting the next part, which is the megasporogenesis. Okay, now development of megaspore. What is megasporogenesis? Formation of megaspore. Okay, formation of megaspore is megasporogenesis. Now let me take a screen and first explain you the process. First of all, what happens in the process of megasporogenesis? Okay, what happens in this process? First of all, nucellus is formed in the form of an outgrowth like structure. Nucellus is formed in the form of an outgrowth like structure. This nucellus is surrounded by a single layer of thick cell, which is the epidermis. Okay, all these cells are alike and undifferentiated or non-differentiated. So all these cells are alike and non-differentiated. Okay, then what happens? Students? First of all, see, any one cell, first of all, it absorbs in nutrition. Okay, cells grows in size, and any one cell from the hypodermal region, any one cell from the hypodermal region, it becomes distinct from the rest of the cell because it contains a dense cytoplasm and a prominent nucleus. It becomes distinct from the rest of the cell, and then this particular cell is now known as archisporial cell. This particular cell is the archisporial cell. That means this particular cell is going to give rise to all of these structures in the ovule, right? See, this archisporial cell is or derived from the hypodermal cell. Okay. Now what happens, students? See, this archisporial cell, it undergoes periclinal division. What type of division? Which type of division? Periclinal division. I've already explained, these two terms, periclinal as well as anticlinal division. In case of periclinal division, the division is always parallel to the plane. For example, if this is the cell and this is the plane of division, so what happens after division? These two cells are formed. So parallel to the plane. What happens in anticlinal division? It is always perpendicular to the plane. So periclinal division results in the formation of number of layers. Okay. So what happens? See, periclinal division takes place and two cells are formed. Cell which is facing towards the epidermis. The cell which is facing towards the epidermis is known as primary parietal cell. It is known as the primary parietal cell. Whereas the cell which is facing towards the center is known as the primary sporogenous cell. It is known as the primary sporogenous cell. Okay, students. Now see, one more important thing. The activity of this primary parietal cell. It depends on the type of the plant. For example, if it is a polypetalous plant, then what happens? Polypetalous case, bitegmic and crassinucellate type of structure will be formed. Whereas in case of gamopetalous flower, what happens? Tenuinucellate and unitegmic type of structure is formed. So the activity depends on the type of plants. Okay. Now what happens? This primary sporogenous cell, it gets converted into megaspore mother cell. This primary sporogenous cell, now it gets converted into megaspore mother cell. Okay. Megaspore mother cell, MMC. Right? Now what happens? This megaspore mother cell, it undergoes meiosis. And as a result of this meiotic division, four daughter cells, or I can say 4 megaspores are formed. As a result of this meiosis, what happens? 4 megaspores are formed. Okay, and these 4 megaspores are arranged in a linear manner, and that is why it is known as the linear tetrad of megaspore. Okay, out of these 4 structure, 3 of the megaspore, it gets degenerated. Out of these 4 megaspores, what happens? 3 of them, they gets degenerated and only 1 functional megaspore is left. So this particular structure, now this, my dear student, is the functional megaspore. Okay, so what happens? Now let us try to understand this particular structure. Let me first change the color of the ink. 1 second. See what happens. The outgrowth like structure is the nucellus, which is not shown over here. I have taken this structure from a very good book. Okay. Now this is the epidermis, as I have already told you. Okay. Now what happens? See, a single cell from the hypodermal region, it gets differentiated and form primary archisporial cell. See, this particular cell, this archisporial cell, is different from the rest of the cell. It has a dense cytoplasm and a prominent nucleus, as you can see. Now, this archisporial cell, it divides by periclinal division, as a result of which 2 cells are formed. The cell which is facing towards the epidermis is the primary parietal cell, whereas the cell which is facing towards the center is the primary sporogenous cell. Now, the primary parietal cell, it also divides by other various divisions, but the activity of the parietal cell, it depends on the type of the plant, as I have already told you. And the primary sporogenous cells, it gets converted into megaspore mother cell. Okay. Now what happens? This megaspore mother cell undergoes meiosis. This is the phase from where these megaspore mother cells are diploid in nature. Now, the megaspores formed as a result of meiotic division are haploid in nature. Now, the till this megaspore mother cell, the generation was the sporophytic generation. The sporophytic plant body was there. Now, with the formation of this megaspore, the gametophytic phase starts. Now, with the formation of this megaspore, what happens? This gametophytic phase starts. Okay, so we know that in case of meiosis, four types of megaspores, four daughter cells are formed. So from this megaspore mother cell, four megaspores are formed. Out of these four megaspores, these four megaspores are arranged in a linear manner. That is why it is mentioned over here, linear tetrad. And out of these four megaspores, three will get degenerated. And only, see here, the three are getting degenerating megaspores, and only one remains, which acts as the functional megaspore, okay. And here in this case, the most common type of megaspore which stays functional is the chalazial megaspore, okay. So the megaspore which was developed towards the chalazial end, that means the base end, stays functional, okay. This and this type of embryo sac, this type of structure which develops, okay, the embryo sac which is going to develop from this chalazial megaspore is known as the polygonum type of embryo sac. Okay, it was discovered by Strasburger. Okay, let me write it over here. Let me change the color first of all. So it was polygonum type of embryo sac discovered for the first time by Strasburger. Okay, and the type of embryo sac which will be developing from this functional megaspore is polygonum type. Why? Because the functional megaspore is present towards the chalazial end, and the rest of the three megaspore, they degenerates. Now see what happened. In case of megasporogenesis, from one single archisporial cell, single megaspore mother cell is formed. And from this single megaspore mother cell, one functional megaspore is formed. Okay. So as you can see, entirely one structure is formed. Okay. So this is the process of development or the formation of megaspore in case of angiosperm. I hope this point is clear. To each and every one of you. Okay, this is a very easy point, very easy topic, and this chapter is also very easy, but it is very scoring as well. So do not miss any basic concept. Moving ahead, now let us discuss the process of megagametogenesis. That means the development of female gametophyte, which ultimately leads to the development of female gamete. What is megagametogenesis? The development of female gametophyte. The development of the female gametophyte, which ultimately leads to the development of female gamete. That is megagametogenesis. Genesis is formation, gameto is gamete. Okay, and megaterm is used in case of female. Okay, so see, with the formation of megaspore is haploid in nature. As I have already told you, this is haploid in nature. This is the functional megaspore. Okay, now see what happens. This megaspore represents the first cell of the female gametophytic generation. This megaspore represents the first cell of female gametophytic generation. Okay, students, that means the haploid generation. Okay, now see what happens. As you can see over here, this is the megaspore mother cell, diploid in nature. It has undergone meiosis. That means four haploid cells are formed, out of which three will degenerate, mark it as a cross. Only one will grow. This particular megaspore, this is the functional megaspore, it will continue to grow. It will absorb the nutrition from the nucellus. Let me draw it on a separate screen, and then I will show you what happens. This functional megaspore, one second. This functional megaspore, okay, this is the chalazial end, this is the micropylar end. Okay, rest of the three, they got degenerated. Now what happens? This functional megaspore, it absorbs the nutrition from the nucellus. Let me change the color of the pointer. So what happens? This functional megaspore absorbs nutrition from the nucellus, okay, and then it grows in size. And then it moves towards the center. It grows in size and it moves towards the center. Okay, now what happens? It divides with the help of a mitotic division. Now, as a result of which, what happens? Two cells are formed. As a result of which, first of all, in this entire process, karyokinesis will proceed first, and at the last, the cytokinesis will take place. Okay, that means the cytokinesis is taking place in a simultaneous order and not in a successive order. Okay, so what happens? First of all, one mitotic division takes place, and what happens? Two out of this one nuclei, what happened? Two nuclei gets generated. Now both these nuclei, they move towards the opposite poles, so they reach towards their opposite pole. Okay, now what happens? Again, two mitotic division takes place. Okay, as we know, with one mitotic division, two daughter nuclei are formed. Okay, so two mitotic division takes place. That means from at both the poles, four cells will be formed. Four nuclei will be formed. As a result of two mitotic divisions. Four nuclei will be formed. Okay, now what happens? See, one nucleus from both the poles, it starts to move towards the center. Okay, what happens? I'll write it over here. One nucleus from both the poles, starts moving towards the center. That means, now let me draw this structure again. At both the poles there are three nuclei, and in the center there are two nuclei. These two nuclei are known as the polar nuclei. These two nuclei are known as the polar nuclei. Okay, and in both the poles there are three nuclei present. Okay, now what happens? Now, students, cytokinesis takes place. Okay, and as a result of which, what happens? There are at the chalazial end and the micropylar end. Let me mark it very clear. What happens at the chalazial end? There are three cells are formed. And these three cells are known as antipodals. Towards the micropylar end, three cells are formed, and the cell which is larger in size is the egg. Larger in size is the egg, and the remaining two cells which are smaller in size are the synergids. And egg and synergids, they both together are known as egg apparatus. In the centermost region where the polar nuclei are formed, cytokinesis do not take place between both the nuclei. That means a single cell is formed in the center. With both the polar nuclei. And this particular cell is known as the central cell. Okay, and this structure which is formed over here, this structure is of the embryo sac. Embryo sac is the female gametophyte. Because this embryo sac is going to bear the egg cell, which is the female gamete. Let me show it to you over here. This is the diagram which is taken from your NCERT. See, first of all, what happened? The functional megaspore. One second. The functional megaspore, it absorbed the nutrition from the nucellus, and then it undergoes the first mitotic division, as a result of which two nuclei are formed. Then what happens? Two mitotic divisions take place. Okay, as a result of which four cells are found at both the poles. Okay, now what happens? One of these nuclei from both the poles moves towards the center. Okay, these two are known as the polar nuclei. And then after that, what happens? These cytokinesis takes place. So see, antipodals are formed towards the chalazial end. Because micropylar end is mentioned over here. And egg cell, which is the largest in size and surrounded by two synergid cells, are formed. This egg and the synergids are together known as the egg apparatus. Okay, and here is the complete structure of the embryo sac is shown over here. See, towards the micropylar end there is synergate surrounding the egg cell. Then the polar nuclei, both the polar nuclei are present in a single cell, which is the central cell, and at the chalazial end are present the antipodals. There are certain finger-like projections projecting out from the synergids, which are known as the filiform apparatus. These filiform apparatus, they help, in guiding the entry of pollen tube towards the micropylar end. So they help in the entry of pollen tube. This filiform apparatus are the finger-like processes found in the synergids. Okay, students. So this is how the embryo sac, that is the female gametophyte. Embryo sac means the female gametophyte forms in case of angiosperm. And egg cell is the female gamete. And this egg cell is also known as oosphere. This egg cell is also known as oosphere. Okay, students. So this is how megasporogenesis and megagametogenesis takes place in case of angiosperm. So we have seen till now that how we have seen first of all the structure of the flower. Okay, then we have seen the male reproductive organ, microsporogenesis, microgametogenesis. We have seen how the two non-motile male gametes were formed. We have already discussed the stage of pollination. Okay, then we have discussed how the female gamete is formed in our today's class. So remember, I have already told you that the events in sexual reproduction are divided into three categories. Events in sexual reproduction is divided into three categories. Those three categories were the pre-fertilization events, right? The fertilization events and the post-fertilization events, right? So in the pre-fertilization events, we have studied the first process was the gametogenesis. So we have already discussed the development of gamete, both male gamete and the female gamete. Now our next class will focus on the process of gamete transfer. That means the pollination. After pollination, we will be discussing the process of fertilization. That is the fusion of male and female gametes, which results in the formation of zygote. And then the post-fertilization events, that is the embryogenesis. Okay, students, again, in case if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Okay, and do not forget to read your NCERT. I'm live daily, students, at 5 p.m. I'm live daily at 5 p.m. on your favorite channel, Let's Crack NEET UG in English. 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday and Friday, I take classes of class 11 topic, and Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, I'm live with class 12 topic. We are very soon about to finish this sexual reproduction in flowering plants, and then we'll be discussing about, genetics part. Okay. Similarly, I'm live daily at 6:45 p.m. on Unacademy Learning app for my free special classes. Okay, for my free special classes, I'm live daily at that particular time, 6:45 p.m. Also at 12 p.m. daily, I'm live with brand new quiz sessions from the complete NEET UG syllabus. So do not miss this chance. Okay, students. As I've already told you that Unacademy has introduced some very awesome features, in the Plus and the Iconic platform. Okay, so choose your platform as per your preference, but do not wait to get late. And do not forget to use my referral code AG001 to get an instant 10% discount on your course fee. Okay, because if you use my referral code AG001, you will be getting an instant 10% discount. And do not forget to subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon to get all the important updates from this channel. Okay, students, take care, study well. Have a nice day.